Adam Stewart from Compound Wealth. Good to see you as always, mate. Where in the world are you at the moment?
I'm in Ashburton, actually, mighty in the office. So pretty cold down here, but I moved up to the Mount on Thursday, mate. I'm very excited. So changing Ashburton for Mount living. So
Wow, a bit warmer in the
that'll
Mount.
be cool. A bit warmer in the Mount.
Yeah, you go from a bit of snow to a bit of surf.
Snow to surf, 100%. Hopefully, I do some work and I'm not at the beach all day.
Oh, well, we'll find out. Well, you've done the work to be able to get yourself to be able to do that. So we'll dive into that. But do you want to just start by explaining what it is that you do for business?
Of course. So I am a financial advisor. I have a business called Compound Wealth. Compound Wealth specializes in investment and insurance advice, particularly KiwiSaver and retirement planning. So I started this business 6.5, 7 years ago, and now we look after over $85 million worth of funds. And we have clients all across New Zealand. So effectively, we help people make smarter financial decisions when it comes to their investment and insurance planning.
And a very big focus on KiwiSaver as well, right?
100%. KiwiSaver is the thing I'm most passionate about because I just do see that not enough people are optimized for retirement. So that's where I started the business because I did see a big gap there with people's knowledge and people just not taking enough action with regards to their retirement savings.
Just on that, for the people watching, for a quick bit of learning for them, what are the things that they're not taking action on with their KiwiSaver that you're helping them get educated about?
Asset allocation is the main driver for return. So making sure your KiwiSaver is optimized from a growth income split perspective, making sure that you've got enough, you're in the right fund effectively. We've still got around 700,000 New Zealanders in default funds or something ridiculous like that. So yeah, there's so much room there for education.
I even just saw this morning, actually, this is topical, that there was something like, I can't remember, some massive amount, hundreds of millions of dollars missed by Kiwis by not putting in their minimum contribution, which is obviously a massive shame, but that wouldn't be the people that you are working with. But I think it is, $423 million in possible government top-ups for the scheme as members didn't put in the $1,042, so they've missed out on. So 580,000 people didn't contribute at all, missing out on 302 million.
580,000.
Yeah, and 484
Oh, that kills me.
We need you to be doing more, mate. Okay, so get your stuff, get sorted in the Mount and get back to work. But even
100%.
mate, on this as well, 484,000 people, part contributing members, did not receive their entire free $521. The way I look at that
There's
is,
a million people.
yeah, out of probably 3 million.
Over a million people.
Yeah, and I think there's only 3 million that contribute, isn't it?
Yeah, crazy.
Yeah.
So that's the opportunity, right?
Well, the nuanced piece about your business, mate, that I think a lot of people wouldn't understand is that you have to severely delay your gratification, right? Because for a lot of financial products, when you work with a financial advisor, say it's a mortgage, they get a lot of the commission up front. So they do the work,
100%.
they probably get paid in the next 60 days. They can earn staggering amounts of money. They can completely blow their thermostats. They can realize, like, why would I ever go back to employment? For you, you get drip fed like a little bit of money, and the book needs to build. So you need more people contributing to KiwiSaver over the long term, etc. And then you kind of, earn more as those funds become larger. So you're having to practice a lot of discipline in this space, aren't you? Compared to other business owners.
100%. I effectively live what I tell my clients, right? It's all about thinking long term, investing, capital in certain areas to, effectively get that compound effect. So, it's been 7 years in business, and my first 3-4 years were very tough. But now I'm starting to kind of see that delayed gratification come through, which is great. But I always just remind myself, start thinking, well, where's the business going to be in 10, 15, 20, 30 years time? And by thinking kind of that long term, it's exciting. But at the same time, I have my days where I'm like, oh, it takes a lot of patience.
Yeah, well, we'll touch on a couple of those days because I've heard you mention those before. So, but just to give people some understanding that are watching, so we've known each other for a little while now, but you sat down with myself and Phil at Next Advisory and did some business planning, and we did it over a 12-month window. So we've gotten through that entire 12 months too. Keen to ask you, what sort of led you to the point to want to do a form of coaching as such, or awesome planning for your business?
So obviously I run the business. I'm the sole director. I needed just kind of some external help, just some different thoughts to run those ideas by, and just kind of discuss how I can grow the business and create a more, not just profitable business, but one that serves what I want to achieve in my life. So the other thing was, it was trying to get people outside my industry as well. So it wasn't going and talking to, say, a financial advisor coach or someone that works in the industry, maybe talking to someone that has a degree of separation with regards to what I do, and can look at it from more of almost a client point of view, and different ways I can market and that kind of thing. So that was a big plus. And then it was, Luke and Phil, very growth orientated. That's where I am with my business. So I wanted to be with people that would give me a bit of a kick up the ass, right? And kind of make me think a bit bigger than what I was, and make me kind of really question my thoughts, and they did that. Phil especially would quit. Why would you do this? Why wouldn't you do it this way? And it was good, right? It put me under pressure, but it made me think really carefully about the decisions that I wanted to make.
Yeah, nice. That can be the fun thing for us, but also the confronting thing for us on our side of the table, is to try and challenge clients to come from things from a different angle, or even, delay the gratification or invest more into themselves. We would always enjoy catching up with you when you're in like absolute full flight in mega energy mode. But there have been times, I guess, throughout that 12 months and even longer than that too, where you've probably questioned what you're doing a little bit as well, right?
100%. And I've got better at it over time, but I very much go hard for 3, 4, 5 months, and then kind of, crash and burn a little bit. And I was a bit like this, always up in trajectory, but I've been trying to find trying to be a little bit more consistent with where I'm going with regards to motivation, and that has definitely got better over the last kind of 12 to 15 months. But yeah, there has been times. I think it's just maturity in business, right? The longer that you've been in the game, and you can kind of notice things when you're starting to burn out a little bit, right? About time I go and take a week off or 2 weeks off and go on holiday, instead of trying to kind of just work through those periods where you're feeling a little bit burnt out. And that's probably one thing that I've noticed with myself personally, is going, right, I've had a big 3, 4 months. Now I need to kind of start thinking, where am I going to kind of just have a couple of weeks off just to decompress, get out of my business, and come back in and go for another big push. But yeah, talking to you guys about that was great. You guys very much understood that as, being an entrepreneur, right? Sometimes it is hard to turn off.
Yeah, I remember you ringing me one day. I can remember it because I was actually sitting in the spa at Omaha when I was house sitting. and we had a phone call, and I'd kind of just come back from a walk on the beach, and just coffee in hand, living my best life. And it almost felt like you're at a bit of a crossroads of, do you really want to do this forever? And you were sort of challenging your own thinking. And I think really you just needed a bit of a break from it, right? Because it just does not
And
stop.
that's what I did, right? I just needed to go and have 2, 3 weeks off. I was just I just been working so hard that you kind of go, oh, what am I doing? Then I came back, and then I was, in the next 3, 4 months, I was loving it. So it's just really identifying what those triggers are, and making sure that you do take time for yourself outside of work, right?
Yeah, nice. Well, you have had a very good 12 months. And like any good stock price, we like to see it up and to the right. Sometimes it doesn't happen as fast as we'd like it to happen. But it's not Bitcoin, and that's money winding you up.
Oh,
But that's all
I
part of it.
don't
But
imagine trying to operate a business in that environment. Oh my God.
Yeah. Are there any, thinking back to that journey through the 12 months of the winning formula that you went through, are there any particular challenges that you were facing that you can sort of see the involvement from us helped you overcome?
Yeah, I think it was just knowing that I had, two people there that I could talk to anytime, and run ideas off, and just having that kind of support to, if I had this crazy idea, I could go and talk to both of you, and then you guys question me on it, and then it kind of just shortens that thought process. Well, how do I describe that? It makes you not go off into a bit too big a tangent, because that idea you can either say yes or no very quickly to it, if that makes sense. So yeah, just having both of you there, just when I needed to make a decision, and it was a decent, big decision, kind of you guys would help me get to the end a lot quicker than I would if I just was doing it myself, right?
Yeah, and I think like your business is a really good example, and just your life, of how many big things can happen in a 12-month period that I think happen for all of us, but we probably neglect to see like them happening. So just as an example, in the short term with working with you, you've got people wanting to potentially buy a chunk. You've got things happening on the personal front around like property and stuff. So then there's those distractions. You've got things around, do you hire, do you contract, do you use some admin support, do you look at setting up an office? Is that actually really what you want? Can you do this from anywhere in the country? Can you actually take 2 or 3 weeks off? Like, when you start listing out all of the different things that can happen in a 12-month period, you start to realize like how busy being a business owner actually is, and the amount of decision making you have to do in what is really a pretty
100%.
small window, eh?
100%. And what I've learned from that is it's trying to keep my personal, like where I live and where I work, keeping all those, and how easy is it to get to the gym, all those kind of like easy decisions regarding my life. If I have that part of my life really sorted, then I don't feel as stressed, because obviously I'm always making decisions with my business. But when it comes to my living, I need to be, 5-minute commute, 5 minutes to the gym, all those things that help me obviously make good decisions. Trying to keep that as simple as possible is something that I've really kind of honed in on the last 12 to 24 months.
Yeah, nice, mate. I think that is something that so many business owners struggle with, but trying to set up their life in a way to be a bit more optimal, and strip out and just be honest about the things that you don't want. For yourself, for instance, I know there were times we're looking at different offices and things like that, or even like working from home, and then you get to try those things and understand, okay, if you change that variable, what happens for your own output? And if it's not going in the right direction, accept like, well, okay, I need to put a solution in place so that I don't, don't go down that path.
100%, 100%. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I think business is a great way to learn more about yourself as well. So I was going to ask you, about those things individually, but you've sort of touched on them there. So looking into the future, mate, I guess your business is quite simple, right? Where it's very rinse and repeat. So that means you've got to stay very focused and very disciplined, much like any good investor out there. Are there other things that you've come across to help you stay focused?
I think I touched on it before, but just making sure that you do have decent breaks. So, and then what I find as well is, when I do a 2-3 month period where I'm on the tools all the time, just, helping clients that can take you away from the business. So the last 2 weeks I've actually blacked out my calendar, so I'm taking minimal calls just for the next 2 weeks. I can work, just kind of catch up on my thinking regarding to my strategy, because sometimes I feel if I'm just doing meetings, and then you can, obviously it's good for business because money's coming in, right? But it's there to find the balance between the strategy as well, and actually taking those couple of weeks to kind of get your breath back and then kind of go, right, could I be doing things smarter here effectively?
Yeah, mate. Less distractions. I like that. What would you say in terms of Next Advisory? What sort of aspects of Next Advisory do you find particularly valuable, or that were like really, helpful or unique?
Your marketing brains. That's probably the number one thing is obviously yourself, Luke and Phil, but just thinking of different avenues that I could typically go down to, take my business to the next level. Effectively just having access to your marketing leverage as well, with regards to, you obviously do it yourself. So you're always going, well, why don't you ask this question or ask this question, or how do you streamline your processes so that effectively people just book into your calendar? And that's effectively what I've done now. People come to my website, fill in their quiz, and book straight into my calendar. And there's little to no friction. It's effectively how much money can I put on social media to fill up my calendar, and then when I need to turn it off, then obviously turn it off, reset, and then repeat, right? So it's been quite a cool thing to get to over the last 12 months, to have a business model that effectively I can turn on or turn off the tap based on how busy I want to keep myself.
That's outstanding, mate. I think many people would listen to that and be very jealous. But yeah, I think the one thing that we try and do with clients is basically put ourselves in the shoes of that business owner, and almost say, this is what we'd do. You don't have to do it, but like, this is what we'd do, or like, this is what we'd try, just so that you can almost blame it on us if it doesn't work as well. But then also thinking about things from if I was the customer of this business, what would I want to see? One thing that, just to blow our trumpet a little bit, you talk about like the leverage there before. The cool thing for us when we start working closer with clients is then understanding their goals and what it is that they're trying to achieve. And then sometimes spotting opportunities through the other work that we're doing and realize like, oh shit, this could be one for Adam. I.e., recently had somebody ask to contribute to a media article. And I'm like, you know what? Like, I could, but actually this is probably something that is a great opportunity for, you to be able to take. And then 100%. We know, but we've got to like know if the client's going to be ready and up for that as well. And I think that's where working closer with a client over a long period of time, you can give them opportunities that that they'll deal with and
action them. And because you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make the bloody horse drink, mate. And that's the key, right? That's you can tell clients to do things, but if they don't do them, then it's a disservice to themselves, right?
Yeah, and I knew the other day with that media opportunity, I'm like, Adam will jump on this. He will reply quickly, because I knew like how quickly the media operate. And if you don't, they will find someone else very quickly. Correct. And if you wait a day, 2 days, it's gone. But that just sort of something I didn't touch on. I'm trying to understand the person that you are. And, you did the strengths finder, for instance, and just understanding the things that you're good at then helps us navigate the 12 months with you to see how you would probably respond to some of the things we could give you to do. But you are an out and out activator where you do shit at massive speed and you jump on things, and sometimes we'll give you ideas and you're like, yep, sweet. And you've like done it that day. Whereas other business owners will go away and they'll think about it a lot, and then they'll kind of run something back past us and then do it, or they'll go, oh, I've decided, we don't want to do that. But yeah, how much do you think knowing yourself is correlated to then the eventual success of your business?
Well, I just know when I'm on fire, and I'm getting up and like I'll go hard for 3 or 4 months and there'll just be, I'll have focus is the word, right? It's focus. And when I'm focused, I can achieve a lot. I think a lot of people can when they're focused. And that's what, like you read your Bill Gates and your Buffetts and they all say that the biggest thing that, got them to where they were, and especially in the early stages, was focus. So I know when I am focused, I can move very, very quickly, but it's trying to, there's balance, right? And then it's the other stuff in your life. But, the beauty of where I'm at right now is that I'm relatively young, so I can afford to be, I don't have kids yet, so I can take more risk, right? And that's the beauty of starting a business when you're in your 20s, is you can take more risk, and the risk of not starting a business in your 20s is greater than not starting than starting a business in your 30s or your 40s, because then you've got kids and a mortgage and all the other all the other stuff. So if you're in your 20s, start a business and have a go.
Here he is. Good man. And you started with very little to get this business going too. It was basically cell phone, a stack of knowledge.
I was broke for a long time. Well, not broke, but you know what I mean? I was living off
not much.
But it worked, right? Because I understood the long-term compound of markets and allocating capital into the right assets, how that can achieve, greater returns over the long term. And that's what I've done. And I'm glad it's paid off.
Good man. Hey, what would you say to people that are having an off day? Or what do you do when you know you should do the doing, but you just can't be bothered?
I'll go to the gym or go for a run and then, come back to it or just start again tomorrow.
Nice. Very practical advice.
Just get yourself out of there, go for a run, go for a walk, do something that's not what you're doing right now. And, get in the gym or go for a swim, do whatever you want, and then come back to it 2 or 3 hours later. It's not going to run away from you. That's what I found. Like, I've been doing it for 7 years now. It's been a roller coaster, just operating a business by myself. And there's been moments where I've gone, should I get a partner on, or, but I've still got that opportunity in the future to do that. I just said, look, I'm 30. I can get, I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I can continue to grow. Maybe when I'm 35, 40, do I look at getting partners in? Maybe. But at the moment, my business it serves my life in the way it gives me a lot of flexibility and I enjoy what I do. So, there's no need for change at the moment. But yeah, again, another thing is it's probably looking back to where I started, going, shit, I started with nothing. And, now it's a, big enough business. So, and then it's kind of, another thing is, as I look to the future, I go, what will this look like in 5, 10, 15 years time? So it's the looking in the past, but it's also looking at in 5 years time, there's a likelihood that I'm probably, double or even tripling my revenue, and then looking, well, shit, that actually looks pretty cool. So should I just suck it up? Yes, you should.
Nice, mate. That's so important, because I think that's what so many business owners go through. They like, there's a saying, if in doubt, zoom out. And what that basically means is that sometimes in the moment we have these things going on in business, and so then we think, yeah, let's get a partner involved because then I'd have someone to talk to. But then you've kind of solved that.
And that's dangerous, man. That is so dangerous, because you're making a decision based off fear or insecurity about what you're doing, right? And that is, I've been close to making shitty decisions like that, but then I kind of zoomed out and went, why are you making this decision? And that's that's the Simon Sinek thing, eh? Yeah. Why am I making this decision? And it's, if it's coming down to fear or insecurity, because you haven't done the work, or you haven't implemented things that you should have, that you've been telling yourself to do, then yeah, it's probably, you're going to make the decision, and in 5 years time, you're going to go, fuck, why did I do that?
Good man. I guess it just highlights the importance of knowing where you're going and having a long-term
Oh,
focus.
100%. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And you're like, and I look at all these, these founders of businesses, right? And they start these businesses, and like they get them to a point, but after 4 or 5 years, they scale them massively. Then they sell out, and then they take their wicket. That's fine. That's a different strategy, right? But I'm trying to create a business that's going to be around for 30, 40, 50 years. So, I can afford to, I need to take that long-term view, but I understand the value of my business growing. A lot of these people just want to get out and go on to the next thing.
Mm.
And that's fine, but I kind of follow the Buffett model, right? I'm trying to be in the game for as long as I can and compound my wealth and compound my clients' wealth. So I just don't understand. I wouldn't be able to personally do that model where you start a business and then you exit, and then start again and do something else. I think I just get too personally attached to what I do. But there's different horses for courses, right?
Yeah, well, that's the beauty of business, is that you can literally build the business that you want, but you have to know what that business is, because I think too many people just get sick of something and then just go, right, I'll burn it down or I'll get out or whatever. And they haven't actually thought from the start, okay, what do I want this to look like? Mate, any other pearls of wisdom from your last 12 months, or even your time in business?
I think it's just all about having that vision for how you want, things to look, and then writing it down, and then like in some miracle way, you look back and you go, oh, shit, when I actually set out to do this 5 years ago, it's actually starting to look very much like what I've done. So having that vision and putting your energy towards that, is huge. Obviously, getting people like Luke and Phil on your side is massive. So making sure that you've got people that want to grow your business with you, and provide that counsel, and making sure that the people, if you are in major growth mode, or you want someone to be honest with you, and you're serious about getting feedback, then Luke and Phil will be your people. But if you're kind of just getting someone on to coast, then I'd say it's probably not going to be the right thing for you. So make sure that if you do go and do it, then you're going to come out of the meetings with them, and there's going to probably be 15 to 20 to-dos, actions that you're going to have to do, right? And if you don't do them, well, it's a waste of money on your half. But why wouldn't you, right? So make sure you're getting people like Luke and Phil on your side that are going to, help you, probably get you out of your comfort zone, but you look back in 12 to 18 months' time and go, shit, money well spent.
Bloody brilliant, mate. Geez, what a huge wrap for us. Hey, mate, thank you for your time as always. I'll let you carry on. But if people want to keep an eye on Compound Wealth, show us that bloody branding on that hoodie before we go as well, mate. Pull the camera down.
Oh, yes. Bit of AS colour. Just got some
Yeah.
hoodies and some hats, mate. So
I look forward to
watch
putting
out.
one of
AS
those
colour's
on.
got some good stuff, don't they?
Yeah, yeah. It's been interesting, the amount of businesses that are now getting into wearing a bit of merch and stuff like that too. And I think, yeah, if your customers want to wear it, it's really cool. You know, cool to see that people believe in what you're doing that much that they actually want to wear something. So I'll get one of those Compound Wealth hats on, mate. But yeah, thank you for your time and your insights. I think this will be helpful for business owners as always. There's always something interesting when we put the heads together and keep having a chat. But keen to see where you get to with Compound Wealth. One thing we didn't touch on that you did briefly touch on, but yes, you've systemized your access to your knowledge. And for context, basically, people can go to Compound Wealth. They can go to your KiwiSaver fact find. They fill out all their information, and you give people a personalized recommendation on what they could be doing with their KiwiSaver, whether they choose to or not. And what would you say the amount of people that go through that process would be that actually change and realize, like, oh, holy shit, I didn't even know any of this existed?
I'd probably say 70 to 80%.
Huge. And the other 20 stay with their bank.
Well, the other 20 either ghost me and I don't even know what they do.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I would rarely come across someone that has an appropriate fund allocation. because 80% of the market share is held with banks, and they've, you know, really never made an active decision, right? They've just gone into a growth or a balanced fund, and that growth or balanced fund's probably been in the worst performing balanced or growth fund in the market. So yeah, most of the time I can add value there. And even if it's staying with the same provider, but just going, hey, look, go into more of an aggressive solution. The thing is, over the last 3 years, KiwiSaver has evolved quite a lot. And there's some, you know, there's so much more investment solutions available compared to your standard cookie cutter growth balance conservative fund. So that's obviously helped. People are more savvy with KiwiSaver now, and they know, they trust it more. So that's kind of helped with my business. Like, maybe, you know, my business 10 years ago probably would have been a lot different, because people just, KiwiSaver balances were smaller. People weren't as savvy online. People didn't trust filling in a discovery, an online questionnaire, and fire a website. So all these things have helped my business become more scalable, because obviously I work on such small margins, and it's a volume game that that, you know, like if I was driving around in my little Peugeot, I just wouldn't be able, it just would be so tough to get off the ground. But now, obviously, you know, people are more, yeah, open to doing a 15-minute Zoom call or phone call and talking about their KiwiSaver, and in, you know, sending them through a recommendation going, hey, look, this is why you should do this, and you can click a link and follow my advice if you want to.
There we go. Well, it is your job to understand the entire KiwiSaver space and then help people with that. One of the things that you've had some success with is basically educating people that have a KiwiSaver balance over $100,000, which puts them 3 times over what the average KiwiSaver balance is. And I think a lot of people don't even realize that, but that you need to be getting personalized advice for that. That's not a small amount of money. Your KiwiSaver balance is 3 times bigger than the average. Make sure that you're not just letting it drift, so that you don't miss out on massive compounding returns that are going to compound your wealth over a long period of time. But Adam Stewart from Compound Wealth, thank you, mate, as always. compoundwealth.co.nz if people want to have a little bit more of a look. Follow your journey on Instagram as well. I look forward, mate, to seeing where you take this business and giving you the odd kick up the ass where needed, or making sure that you stay on track.
Let's bring it on, Loki.
Good, man. Cheers.